Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining me once again for a Monday afternoon situation report. For those of you who are new, maybe unfamiliar with the format, I go by regions of the world alphabetically and then by those countries alphabetically. And this is a compilation of publicly released government, media, and other reports that comes to me partly because of my old job at the company, but I still get them, and it's not super secret squirrel stuff, but it is a nice, very concise set of compilations that head my way. So I'm summarizing what I'm getting for you, just to do some lessons here and give you awareness of the rest of the world. So with no further ado, starting with Africa. Guinea. Landslide buries homes outside Guinea's capital, killing 11 and injuring 10, according to the Associated Press. Heavy rains caused a landslide that struck homes in a rural community in Guinea, killing at least 11 people. Another 10 people were seriously injured, and the death toll was expected to rise. Unfortunately, like we had in the Texas flood, which basically became a landslide, almost like a mudslide with the amount of water, people get washed away, and it takes a while for other people to say, hey, this guy's missing, and then they start looking for them. Unfortunately, in some cases, they smell the bodies. But I did a live stream this weekend from the meteor crater out here in West Texas, and we talked about how it affected the area around it, what it looks like. Understanding your geography is super important for a prepper, and I don't think we emphasize that enough. Knowing if your area is prone to landslides or prone to other issues is very important. Moving on, Kenya. 5 bodies recovered in Kenya, a suspected site of cult deaths. This is Reuters. I have not read these before I do the video, so my reaction is real. This is from Reuters News. At least 5 bodies were recovered from shallow graves on Thursday at the site in Kenya, where victims of a religious cult are suspected to have been buried. Damn. That's freaky. But we get our own crazy people here too. Niger Army says it killed a senior Boko Haram leader in a targeted airstrike. This is Associated Press. The Army of Niger said it had targeted airstrike to kill a senior leader of the Boko Haram jihadi group, which has killed thousands of people in West Africa. They're having some serious issues with the jihadis in Africa right now, and so that's going to be a continuing thing. And then Sudan. Drone attack destroys UN aid convoy in Sudan's famine-hit Darfur region. This is from Al Jazeera. A drone attack has hit a convoy of 16 trucks carrying desperately needed food to Sudan's famine-hit North Darfur region, the United Nations said, as warring parties trade blame for the attack. Now, this is something we've always known about drones, right? We've been using Reaper drones forever in the U.S. military, and drones for reconnaissance. The Ukraine-Russia war, we're seeing a lot of use of smaller drones for targeted strikes. This is something that bugs the hell out of me, because the bad guys are watching this, right? The bad guys in the world are kind of looking at this going, that's a very cheap way to do a lot of damage. And it's only a matter of time, I'm afraid, that it's going to come home. So how do you defend against this? Honestly, that might be a subject of a whole different video. We need to have a conversation about that, but that's concerning that you're starting to see these small drone attacks being utilized elsewhere, and apparently quite effectively. So moving on, East Asian Pacific, Burma and India, magnitude 5.6 earthquake strikes near Myanmar-India border. This is from Reuters, and the measurement was taken by your European Mediterranean Seismological Center, EMSC. That was a mouthful. Indonesia's regional budget cuts set to spur more local tax hikes and public outrage. This is according to Reuters. Thousands of Indonesians have taken to the streets this month to vent against higher taxes, and local leaders warn public outrage will only worsen if President Prabowo Subianto, I didn't know if I said that right, New proposal to slash regional funding comes to pass. So they're raising taxes and cutting the benefits. This is the danger of, you know, having a government that's running in the wrong way. Is at some point they have to course correct. They have to take money away from the people and tax more to make the books even, and that's where people get in trouble. Moving on to Europe now, Russia, Ukraine. Speaking of those guys, Russian attack on Western Ukraine hits an American factory during a U.S.-led push for peace. This is according to ABC News. Russia has launched a rare drone and missile attack on Western Ukraine, hitting an American-owned electronics plant along with other targets and injecting further uncertainty into the U.S.-led efforts to end the 3-year-old war. That's going to be a hard sell because Putin's not going to want to back down. In his mind, he has nothing to lose. And yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. That's one of those situations, if Ukraine hits or kills the wrong person or place, or Russia miscalculates and hits Poland or Romania, that it starts to spiral. Hopefully not. But again, when things get this kinetic and you have this many moving parts, units and aircraft and drones all fighting with each other and zooming around, somebody screws up. All right, you can argue, well, they might do it on purpose to escalate the war. They could. That would not be unheard of. But I would be more along the lines of somebody's going to make a mistake and it's going to escalate, and then the other side's going to react excessively, and it's going to go from there. So hopefully I'm wrong. I'd love to see a ceasefire of some type, but remains to be seen. Serbia. What's behind the eruption of violence at protests in Serbia? This is from RFE News. I don't know who they are. A wave of protests that began in Serbia in November of 24 has entered a new phase, with demonstrators and police clashing daily since August 12th. Damn. When violence broke out in the northern cities of Vrbas and Baka Palanka. That's a hell of a name. Yeah, if you're traveling to those parts of the world, be aware of what's going on before you land. And again, that goes to the traveling thing. Prep for your place of destination, not just where you left. A lot of people don't do that, and you know, you get caught in something like that, you want to know how to get to the embassy or get the hell out of the country. Right? You got to go to Azerbaijan or Armenia with your American or Canadian passport. You want to be able to do that quickly. Moving on, Middle East, North Africa, Lebanon. Lebanese troops collect first weapons surrendered in Palestinian camps. Arab News. Lebanese troop entered the Burj al-Baranej refugee camp in Beirut's southern suburbs. God, this is a tongue twister. Late on Thursday, and began collecting the first weapons surrendered as part of a government move to disarm the Palestinian factions. Interesting. So basically, the
someone with a 254 area code said.
Nobody wants to hear that. It's a spam thing too. That's interesting that the Lebanese government, which is an Islamic government, is disarming the Palestinians because they're causing trouble. That tells you something there. Anyway, moving on. Syria. UN warns situation in Syria remains fragile amid a shaky ceasefire, according to Arab News. The UN Special Envoy for Syria, Geir Pedersen, told the Security Council on Thursday that the situation in the country remains deeply fragile, with the ceasefire in Sweden under growing strain and political tensions on the rise. So Syria not out of the woods yet, although a ceasefire is always a good start. South and Central Asia, well, the repeat of Burma, India, magnitude 5.6. Sri Lanka, former Sri Lankan President, holy cow, Wickremesinghe, Wickremesinghe. I have no idea how to say that. Arrested on allegations of misusing state funds. Oh. The country's former president and senior opposition politician, Ramil Warlula, over allegations of misusing public funds during his tenure as president. Oops. Well, don't break the law and that won't happen. Okay, now moving on to the Western Hemisphere. Argentina. New scandal piles pressure on Milei. President Javier Milei dismissed Diego Spanuolo, the head of the National Disability Agency, amid a brewing corruption scandal. He knew he was going to have to fight corruption in that country. Brazil deepens its bond with China, Americans quarterly. The already important relationship is gaining momentum as U.S. policies drive Brazil to seek closer collaboration with China, partly due to the trade. China's looking for an alternate place to sell their goods. It's actually going to hurt Brazil because Brazil's manufacturing is not to where China and the U.S. are, where the U.S. could actually fight back. We'll see how that goes. Canada. Air Canada's union defiance of Canadian government order could embolden workers. Reuters. Canada's government stepped in 4 times to aid 7 companies last year, stopping strikes using an obscure labor code provision. A similar decree on Sunday failed, however, as Air Canada's ACTJO, I don't know what that means, opens new tab flight attendants refused to obey. So basically the Canadian government said, well, you're an important worker, you must go to work, and they said, no, screw you. So we'll see where that goes. People need to stand up to the Canadian government. I mean, they do it here all the time. And up there in Canada, they froze people's bank accounts for donating to the trucker protest a few years ago. You didn't even have to go. You didn't break a law. You donated to someone else, and they froze your account. And then they want digital currency. Colombia, car bomb and attack on helicopter in Colombia kill at least 13, including police officers. This is the Associated Press. Car bomb and a separate attack on a police helicopter in Colombia killed at least 13 on Thursday. They attributed both incidents to dissidents of the defunct Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, commonly known as FARC, F-A-R-C, not FART, F-A-R-T. That's different. And then Ecuador homicides increased 40% through July, over 5,000 killed. Holy crap. Ecuador is not a big country. That's Reuters. Homicides in Ecuador rose 40.36% in the first 7 months of this year compared to the same time last year. Folks, if you're going to go overseas, and let me see, I think that's about it. Turkey having regional security, South Central, nope. All right, that's pretty much it for this one, folks. Look, if you're traveling, and I can't emphasize this enough, read up on where you're going. Don't just listen to the tourism people. Don't just look at the brochures online, because they're always going to make it pretty. Understand where you're going, even if it's in the States or in Canada, right? You're staying in North America, and you're going from, I don't know, wherever the hell you are in Missouri, and you're going to go visit Houston or Dallas or LA. Get to know the local area. Get on Facebook, get on social media, and just get a vibe for where you're going. You also want to dress kind of the way they dress to fit in. So go on Google Earth and just do the little street side view and send your little guy up and down the streets and look at the people. Look at the stores. I try to pick hotels that I know are near amenities like a Walmart or a hospital, but keep in mind, it's a double-edged sword. If you're too close to Walmart and a riot breaks out, what's the first place they go? They go to Walmart and Target and tear those up, and now your hotel is right next door. So you want enough space to not be interesting, but you want to be close enough that if you need to stock up while you're on the road in an emergency, you can run down, do it quickly, get back to your hotel, and then start planning what the next move is. In any case, plan out your trips. You guys be safe. I hope you enjoyed this one. And you guys, I'll see you on the next video. You guys take care.